ReZero looks like a simple anime at first, where a normal guy gets transported to another world, dies, comes back, and tries again. That is the hook, but it is not what ReZero is really about. The longer the story goes on, the clearer it becomes that return by death is not a power, it is a curse. Subaru Natsuki can reset time every time he dies, but he's the only one who remembers every mistake, every scream, every death, and every person he failed to save. Everyone else gets a clean timeline, while Subaru gets the trauma.
And that is why ReZero has been asking the same question since episode 1. If you were forced to keep living through pain, failure, rejection, and death, what kind of person would you become? Would you become stronger? Would you become cruel? Would you break? Or would you somehow still choose to care? That is the real story of ReZero. Not a story about a weak boy becoming overpowered, but a story about a weak boy being placed under impossible pressure and being forced to find out who he really is. When Subaru first arrives in Luganica, he thinks he knows what kind of story he is in. He has seen this fantasy before.
A normal guy enters another world. He meets a beautiful girl. He discovers a hidden power. He becomes important. He becomes the hero. At first, Subaru acts exactly like someone who believes the universe owes him that story. He expects danger to be exciting, expects Amelia to be the heroine of his new life, and expects himself to matter. But ReZero does something brutal. It lets Subaru believe he is the main character. Then it shows him that being the main character does not mean the world will be kind to you.
Subaru has no status, no money, no real combat ability, no understanding of the world. And the one ability he does have forces him to die over and over again. That is what makes Return by Death so horrifying. In another anime, this ability will be broken. You die, you learn, you come back smarter. Eventually, you win. But ReZero understands something most stories ignore. Knowledge does not erase fear. Just because Subaru knows what is coming does not mean he is ready to face it. Imagine walking into a room where you remember being murdered. Imagine talking to someone who once killed you while they smiled like nothing happened. Imagine watching someone you love die, saving them in the next loop, and realizing they will never know what you went through for them. That is not a power fantasy. That is psychological horror. And it slowly changes Subaru, because every loop gives him a choice.
He can keep seeing people as people, or he can start seeing them as pieces on a board. He can treat each life as real, or he can tell himself that failed timelines do not matter. That is the danger of Return by Death. It does not just test whether Subaru can survive. It tests whether he can keep respecting life after death becomes familiar. And that is what makes Subaru so different from the usual anime protagonist. He's not strong because he wins every fight. He's strong because he has every reason to become numb, selfish, or cruel. And he keeps fighting not to become that. But Subaru is not easy to watch, and that is intentional. He's emotional, he's loud, he's insecure, and he says the wrong thing.
He wants to be seen as important, and sometimes he confuses suffering for love. That is what makes his relationship with Amelia so painful early on. Subaru believes he has done everything for her. He has died for her, bled for her, and lost his mind trying to protect her. But Amelia does not know that. She cannot know that. So when Subaru acts like he deserves a place beside her, she does not see a hero. She sees someone embarrassing her, someone speaking over her, and someone trying to force himself into her life. And that is what makes ReZero uncomfortable. From Subaru's point of view, he is protecting her. But from Amelia's point of view, he is disrespecting her. Both sides make sense. And that is why Subaru's lowest moments hit so hard. Because he wants his pain to mean something.
He wants someone to acknowledge what he has endured. He wants proof that he is not useless. But ReZero refuses to give him that easy validation. Instead, it forces him to face the truth. Suffering for someone does not mean they owe you love. Pain does not automatically make you right. And being willing to die for people is not the same as understanding them. That is one of the biggest lessons Subaru has to learn. Love is not ownership. Love is not a reward for suffering. And saving someone does not make you the center of their story. This is why Rem's role is so important. Rem sees Subaru when he is completely broken. Not the loud version, not the fake confident version, not the version pretending he can handle everything. She sees the boy who wants to run away, the boy who hates himself, the boy who is tired of dying.
And when Subaru calls himself useless, Rem does not pretend he is perfect. She reminds him of the version of himself he cannot see, the Subaru who tried, the Subaru who reached out, the Subaru who kept moving even while terrified. That moment matters because Subaru's self-image is destroyed. He either sees himself as a hero or as nothing. Rem gives him a third option. He can be flawed and still have value. He can fail and still be loved. And he can hate himself and still choose to become better. That is what starting from zero really means. It doesn't mean the past disappears. It means the past does not get the final word. And that idea is the heart of ReZero. Subaru is not becoming strong because he stops being weak. He becomes strong because he learns what to do with his weakness.
He learns to ask for help, to trust other people, and that he cannot carry everything alone. Most importantly, he learns that his life has value even when he's not useful. That might be the most powerful part of his character. Because Subaru's biggest problem is not that he is weak. It is that he thinks being weak makes him worthless. So he tries to prove his value by suffering, by dying, by sacrificing himself, and by making himself necessary. But ReZero keeps challenging that mindset. It asks, are you saving people because you value life or because you do not value your own? That is what makes Subaru such a human protagonist. He is not always admirable. He is not always likable. But he is honest. His pain is messy. His growth is ugly. His mistakes are hard to watch, and that is why he feels real. Most of us will never be transported to another world. Most of us will never fight the witch code. Most of us will never reset after death. But a lot of people understand wanting to start again, wanting to erase a mistake, wanting someone to see how hard you tried, wanting to prove you matter, and hating the version of yourself that failed. That is why ReZero hits so hard, because beneath the fantasy, it is asking something deeply human.
After everything you have been through, after every mistake, after every failure, after every version of yourself you are ashamed of, can you still begin again? That is Subaru's real battle. Not just surviving death, not just saving Amelia, not just defeating monsters. His real battle is choosing not to give up on himself. Every death tells him to stop. Every failure tells him he is useless. Every reset makes his suffering invisible. And yet, somehow, he keeps going. Not perfectly, not cleanly, not without breaking, but he keeps choosing people. He keeps choosing connection. He keeps choosing to believe the next attempt can be better than the last. And that is why Subaru is not weak.
He is one of anime's strongest protagonists because the story allows him to be weak. Real strength is not always looking cool. It is not never being afraid. It is not winning every fight. Sometimes strength is crying on the floor and still getting up. Sometimes strength is admitting you hate yourself, but refusing to let that hatred become your identity.
Sometimes strength is accepting that you cannot save everyone alone. And sometimes strength is deciding that even if the world breaks you again and again, you will not become someone who breaks the world back. That is the question ReZero has been asking since episode 1. If pain keeps dragging you back to zero, can you still choose to start again? And Subaru's answer over and over again is yes. Not because he is fearless, not because he is special, but because even after everything, he still cares. And maybe that is why ReZero has stayed so powerful. Because it is not just about time loops. It is not just about death. It is about the terrifying, beautiful, painful act of beginning again when every part of you wants to stop. So when people say ReZero is just an isekai about dying and resetting, they are missing the point. Return by Death is not the story, it is the pressure. The real story is what that pressure reveals. And what it reveals is this. Subaru Natsuki is not a hero because he was chosen. He is a hero because he chooses. Again and again and again. But what do you think? Is Subaru one of anime's best written protagonists? Or do you think he gets too much credit? Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, subscribe for more anime videos that go deeper than just who is strongest.